Hey, what's up? It's Kevin Rogers. Welcome to Copy Chief Radio, brought to you by copychief.com. See how that works? Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Copy Chief Radio. It's Kev here, and my guest today is Daniel Daines-Hutt. Man, this guy is a wizard. A varied background. He, like most people who become really great, like breakout great at something, it started organically, and he has a direct response background. But when he started writing really epic articles and posting them on places like Growth Hackers and inbound.com, people freaked out. And he's had 8 posts in the last 2 years that he's essentially driven his business. He's going to tell you this whole master plan and how it unfolded. And he's had the top rated posts, top read post 2017, 2018 on Growth Hackers. So, we don't focus as much on content marketing on the show as we do on, more traditional sales copy methods. So I'm excited to dive into this. And Daniel, thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super pumped to share.
Yeah, man. So tell me, I gave my little clunky description of what you do there. Give us the official, get us hip on what you're up to.
All right. So I'm a bit of a nerd. I've got a bookshelf next to me with about 60 books on direct response and neuroscience and psychology and things. So I think my skill set is I'm quite empathetic to people, which helps in direct response. You get to understand people.
Sure.
But then I've got like an engineering background. So I'm also kind of data driven. I do a lot of PPC. We run 2 sites. I have a blog called Inbound Ascension, which is all about retargeting. So I would write about retargeting and stuff on there. And then, like you said, those content posts would end up going viral. At one point, we had like 50,000 visitors in 2 weeks when the site went live. That led to like $3 million in client requests in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, which we didn't take all of those, by the way. I'm not crazy. And then
good for you, keeping your sanity, at least for the moment.
Right, yeah. And then I started writing content about that, and the content would do really well. So we got content shared by Ryan Deiss, Neil Patel, Sujan Patel, Glenn Alsop, Copy Hackers. All these guys are linking and referencing to our posts. And we just got all these crazy results. So now I have a second blog called ampmycontent.com that I co-founded with my partner, Freya. She's a content writer, classic introverted writer. You can't ever get her on one of these things, but she's an absolute beast. She's taken a blog recently from 30,000 visitors a month to 120,000 a month.
Wow.
So yeah, absolute ninja at that. So basically our focus right now is Amp My Content, and we release case studies about how to leverage content more effectively, how to use like direct response principles and things to make it more effective, get higher opt-ins, how to drive traffic to it at a profit so that it's actually working for you. So kind of taking a native ads approach.
Yeah.
Where we're driving traffic, but it's actually still a content asset, so we can get backlinks to it as well. So we're getting organic traffic, people are sharing it and things like this. So we're trying to fully leverage those things and be smart, lazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's almost like it makes me think of pre-sale pages, advertorial articles, but combining maybe the intent of those with more traditional SEO type articles that just live natively on their site and get a lot of viral shares because of just their pure epicness.
Exactly. So it really ties in as well, because not everyone can obviously rank number one, or a big problem is people fail to promote content. They keep churning out more and more.
Right.
And so if you are going to focus on link building, because I'm totally for SEO, makes total sense. But if you're running paid traffic as well, it means that you can leverage that in the meantime before you get organic traffic. And it also means that you can actually scale it up as well. So like I was going through a backlog. So when you were talking, I think it's episode 108 with Mike, I want to say Renard.
Yep.
And you're talking about actually providing a good experience and driving people to content that has value, and it's that long-term approach. Right. And I know you're good friends with James Schramko as well.
That's right. He's my coach. Yeah.
So it's like that own the race course kind of thing, where we are farming, we are building an asset that we can keep working from.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. So When you say leverage, meaning, so you write this amazing article, and I want to talk about in a minute about whether you have a specific list criteria for these. Because, like you mentioned, the big runaway hit of last year was a 30,000 word article. Like that's more than a lot of books, I think, so that probably feels overwhelming. Not that I'm afraid to work or trying to make it look too easy, but just to be clear, you write this amazing, really useful, really valuable post. You can get it going with some paid traffic and then do SEO tagging and all that. And through your cold traffic efforts, get it to go viral and get it to produce a lot of organic leads for you.
Totally. And it doesn't even have to go viral. There's basically three elements. You have a cold ad that takes people to a piece of content as an opt-in, and over time they made offers and things. It's just having the ad and the content effective enough that it is profitable.
Right.
So yeah, we just wrote this massive guide. It's what we're talking about now. It's 30,000 words, 8 chapters. The thing is, it gets an 83% opt-in rate.
Wow.
So 83 out of every 100 people are opting in right now. Obviously, it's going to drop as it gets bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But a piece of content like that gets a heap of links. So it's got, I think, 65 websites linking to it, which is, hundreds and hundreds of backlinks.
Yeah.
So it's an asset that's building our traffic and stuff like that. But you don't have to be writing content like that for this to work. The ad that we use as an example, the piece of content, is only 2,500 words. It's just a kind of a simple post. And for every dollar we spend promoting that, we make on average $23 in return.
Wow, man. That's crazy. What is the magic behind this particular kind of content? Because those are two very different, obviously the 8 chapter, I mean, that's a guide, that's a book. Most people would sell that as a premium product, right?
Yeah.
So what is the difference I should ask, what are the similarities between the 30K word beast and the 2,500 word article?
Well, in reality, the 30,000 word is just 8 3,000 word posts put together.
Right.
It's just like 8 how-to guides, but it's done in such a way. It's like, find out your business numbers. Here's how you do customer research. Here's how you design your ads. So each of them are small how-to posts, but they're all put together in a certain way. Now, the reason we did that is because the site is quite new. It's only about 5 months old, and my content. And the competition is huge. Like, we're competing with CMI and HubSpot and all these other guys. So we kind of wanted to put our foot in the door so people can see who we are and take us seriously. So that's why that big post is there. Also, certain types of content are better at achieving certain things. So we wanted to get a lot of websites linking to us ASAP, and that's why we did one of those big posts. Now, when I teach people about this, I recommend they don't actually write one of those until, like your 8th article or something, because they take up a lot of time, a lot of effort. If you haven't written a lot of content before, you'll go insane writing the thing and editing the thing. So don't feel like you have to be writing posts like that. They're just for later on. Like, say you want to get the attention of a heap of influencers and get a lot of links. That kind of stuff does really well. White papers and research and stuff, it does really well.
Right.
If you want to convert customers, it doesn't have to be that in depth. In reality, it's more like, if you've ever worked in retail, you'll realize you have the same conversation pretty much again and again and again. It's like Groundhog Day.
Right.
And a lot of people, especially paid ads guys, they don't create content assets because there's so much competition. They don't think they could ever rank. The thing is, getting organic traffic is just a side benefit. If your content is designed to actually bring someone in, have the conversations that they need to have, and then convert them, then it doesn't matter if Google dies tomorrow, because you can still push people to that in some new channel. Because all it's doing is it's kind of automating your sales process for you. Kind of like the old, it's pre-framing, basically. It's having those conversations, and it's taking away objections and building desire and things like that. But it also means you can step away and not have to have those conversations again and again.
Right.
So it can be quite short content. It just needs to hit certain elements. It needs to build authority so people trust you.
Right.
It needs to build reciprocity so people want to pay it forward. They want to share the content and they want to opt in. And to do those things, it's actually quite simple. When you break it all down, when you look at the best performing posts online, we looked at those via BuzzSumo, and we looked at content by Jonah Berger, who wrote Contagious, Why Posts Go Viral and things.
Great book. Right. Yeah. The steps.
Yeah, it is those elements. It's the authority, reciprocity, trust, social proof, value, action.
Yep.
So when you break it all down, it's posts that are around 1,000 to 3,000 words, image heavy, so they break down the flow so it's easy to read. It provides context. It makes it actionable so people can take action on it, and that builds value, which builds reciprocity. So it's actually quite easy to write content like this. You just know what boxes to tick and things like that. You can actually go back and improve old content instead and actually get the same result. But I'm 2 coffees deep, so I apologize. I get real nerdy on this stuff.
No, it's okay. I love it. I'd love to get into some of the nitty gritty of this. So I'm going to challenge you here. We didn't prep for this.
It's all good.
I'm meeting and learning along with everybody because I love learning about stuff I don't know much about, as we all do in this business as entrepreneurs. So talk to me about, and I'll just tell you, we've been guilty. We always look to produce quality articles for our blog, but we kind of stopped writing articles as much as focusing on podcasting and things just because we could see so much more action there, right?
Yeah.
It's a little harder to measure with articles. And it's because we knew there were strategies out there, and it was one of those things we just didn't have time or didn't make time to learn, right? So knowing could we do to a typical post that we knew had a ton of value, had gotten some love with our audience, what are 2 or 3 things we could go in and improve about that article to take it to the next level the way you're talking about?
Okay, so I actually have a guide on this, which I'll share as well.
Great.
To actually go into an old post and edit it. Because it, like you say, it makes so much more sense rather than writing something new.
Yeah.
Go into a post that's already got traffic. Like a sales page, you would go in and you would keep improving the conversion by tweaking it. Mm-hmm. Same thing for a piece of content. You can just keep improving that content over time, promoting it, build links, etc. So usually simple things is just ticking those boxes. So if your content's only 500 words, it's probably going to fail to convert, because if you can make a sale in 500 words, I'll give you my money. But most people, unless they're a really, really, really warm audience, they're not going to convert on that. So we have to extend the length of the content. And it's very easy to do that if you make the content actionable. So rather than just saying you need to improve your headlines, you go in and you show them how, and you tell them different headline cheat sheets. And when you teach them how to test the headline and split test it. And not only that, you also show them what buttons to press and when to run it for. When you start to add value like that, obviously the content's going to gain length. So it's easy to write. You're not just trying to fill it with stuff. Yeah. You're also adding a lot of images because you're showing them what to do and where to go. So it gives a lot of context. So it removes ambiguity, because people are always looking for an excuse to kind of zone out or bounce. But if you can keep removing those objections and excuses to not take action, they're far more likely then to take action. If that makes sense.
Sure. So it is very much a direct response copywriting approach, but like you said, done without that quote unquote salesy feel where it's all about convincing somebody that they need something or taking them through this emotional journey. But those elements are there. Those persuasion elements are in existence.
Oh, totally. Like that's a big part of it as well, is you have to have those emotional connections, and you also have to structure the content in a specific way. So in a how-to post, all my different articles, all the different archetypes that we use, we template it all out so that we hit certain things. So in a how-to post, obviously we're going to have the headline and introduction, which we know are super important because we've got to keep pulling them in and get that slippery slope to pull them down through the post. Mm-hmm. So we normally use the BAB sequence. So before, after, bridge. This is where you are now. I know how to get you to where you want to be after. This is the bridge. Then we have some social proof to show that we can do that. Then normally what we do is, if we're going to talk about these 3 big steps, I will quickly say what they are before we get into them, so that people can, usually what's happened is they've clicked on the post. We've connected emotionally. Yes, this is where I am because we've done our research. Yes, that's where I want to go. I can connect with you because I see that you've been where I've been and got there, kind of thing. I know the roadmap to get there. Mm-hmm. At that point, they're kind of thinking, okay, well, how much effort is this? So we will quickly outline what the steps are. If we jumped into it super deep straight away and it was all actionable, I'm saying click on this and do this and do this,
right,
they're not connected enough. They're not invested enough.
Sure.
So I'm trying to get them to get past that objection and say, oh, okay, well, all I need to do is do a Skype call with this guy. Then I need to write this, and then I just need to set up the ad and let it run for a few days. And then we show them how to do it. And then there's always a call to action. So a big thing as well is, you'll know it from copywriting, you've got to have a call to action, but so much content doesn't have that. Or if it does, the call to action doesn't align with the offer, the page that they're on.
Right.
So we use something that we call a hyper-specific next step offer. It's just a simple kind of 2-step opt-in button for a lead magnet or something like that. But it's unique to that article. We don't use it anywhere else because it's very specific to that person at that time. So I have another guide, and it tells you how to make these HSO offers. At the end of the guide, even though you've got all the steps and it's actionable in the post, I say, hey, I've got 5 videos that are like 2 minutes each. They show you where to click in your email provider, how to set this up, how to connect the API and stuff. Do you want it? So that gets like a 23% opt-in rate because it's the next thing. We've got them excited to this thing, and it's the obvious next action that they're going to want to take. So why not just give that to them so that they don't read your post, say, oh, that's brilliant. Now I'm going to Google how to set this up.
Right.
So we give that to them. So it gives them the action to take, and it ties in obviously to like an offer or something that we have later on.
Yeah, it's great. Seems very simple, but I could totally see where most people don't do it. The old thinking was just write an article that provides some content or gives an opinion. We're always careful about adding some steps at the bottom. Just about every post we have a blog post is, so to do it, here's 3 simple steps, kind of a thing, right? But you're right. It'd be great if, I'm sure we could find some way to connect that to a very specific reason to say, join Copy Chief or take some other action or get the 60-second sales hook book or, right? Any of the offers we have. Hey, it's Kev here. And if you like this podcast, then you are going to love the Copy Chief app. Total, custom, easy to use, smooth phone app where you can listen to every podcast episode, plus get all the show notes and dig it. You can listen right inside the app, even when your phone is in the locked position. Super cool. Plus, right there in the same app, you get access to all the great free Copy Chief content to help you write better, higher converting copy. Plus, members can access the private form area right from the mobile app. It's available for you for free right now wherever you get your apps. Apple, Android, go get it. Download the Copy Chief app today because nobody writes alone. Going back to what you said earlier about sort of warming people up, I look at it as authority. You have to establish your authority, but not in a desk pounding kind of a way, right? Just give good examples of a problem that you faced in your marketing that was probably a lot like your reader faced at some point or will face in what you discovered to overcome it. And, the old thing in persuasion where if you're able to help somebody see their problem in a new way, they will immediately and usually correctly assume that you're the best person to help them solve it.
Exactly. And then price doesn't become an issue and you're not competing on specific things. And yeah, they're yours because you're the one who taught this to them and it resonated. And why would they now go look for somebody else? Like you said, they don't want to Google. They're only Googling because they have to, right? Anytime you offer, you've brought them to that point. Why the heck would you send them off to Google to find somebody else's solution, right? Exactly. And it's so obvious. Like when you hear it, but it's one of those things like we're all guilty of it. Was it cobbler's shoes?
Yeah.
Like we miss these specific things. I have a retargeting blog. For the longest time, I didn't have retargeting ads running. You kind of miss those things sometimes.
Sure.
But yeah, all of this is very simple. It's just the subtleties of the small things that make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Like tweaking out those different conversions. So if you have that content and you've improved it and it has a higher opt-in offer, well, now you can run traffic to it. The beauty of this is if you improve it to meet those elements as well, if you promote it organically via email or whatever, you're almost more likely to get links and shares and things than you ever were before, just because it also hits those triggers that influencers are looking for because they don't want to just link to anything. Even if the information is good, if the presentation is poor, they're not going to send their readers across to it because if it's good and they send it across, that looks good on the person who promoted it, right? The initial influencer.
Yeah, that's why we recommend things, because it makes us look good.
Exactly. But even if this stuff is good and you send them across, if it's got these amazing gold nuggets in it, but it's not well presented or it's not a good experience, you're not going to do that because that's going to come back to you as well.
Right. Yeah. That's great stuff. And so what do people pay you for now, Daniel, like specifically?
So we used to run an agency, but I found that I think this is kind of your story as well. It didn't align with what I wanted to do, and I was working, like 14 hours a day. I put on 90 pounds, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost a lot of it now, but yeah, it was highly stressful. So we moved away from that, and now I actually teach people how to write content more effectively, and I teach them how to promote it and leverage it so that it actually does the job it's supposed to. So like I said, we only wrote 8 posts in 2 years, and yet we run a successful business off of the back of that. Mm-hmm. A lot of freelancers, copywriters, small business owners, a lot of them copy what they see. And what they see usually is media sites. And media sites make money by views on adverts in their sidebar, And so they get you to come back 10, 15, 20 times if possible to make money. And so we copied that. But what happens is we don't have the time to write all the time. We don't have the time to leverage it. And so we're just churning out this stuff that's really not making any effect to our business.
Right.
I come from like a working class background originally. So it really kind of resonates with me that I see these people, it's scary being an entrepreneur or growing a small business. And there's so much bad information that's relevant to other businesses, Fortune 500 businesses, but not you, And so I think it was Mike's episode 98. No, I didn't have a list of notes here with me, but he was talking about, you don't need a massive ad budget to get started, which is correct.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, if you're going with an agency, you assume you need 10 grand straight away.
Right.
No, you don't. You just need a small budget to find a winning ad.
Right.
And that's going to give you a budget to scale up over time.
That's right.
Stuff like that. Sorry, I go on tangents.
No, that's okay. So just to be clear, so these 8 articles you're driving basically leads to your business, and the service you provide is consulting on how to get more out of your content as a business owner, or are you writing the content for companies? Like, what is the service?
So it's a content academy, kind of similar to Copy Chief, but for content writing and for content promotion. So it's all lessons and templates and things like that. There's a private community. People can reach out and get answers and replies. We do kind of content breakdowns and things. But at the moment, we're not writing content for anyone else just because it's more cost effective to grow our own business.
Sure.
And we're not doing client work, which is a really great way to get more people to request clients.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the truth. Yeah. Just stop doing it. Right. You'll never be so popular as when you announce that you're not working with clients anymore.
Yeah. The girl that no one can have. Right?
Yeah, right. Well, good for you, man. I hope you lose the rest of the weight that the stress of an agency put on. It's funny thing with an agency, man. It's like, it makes so much sense on paper because you can do the work so many people want done, and you can help the people who want to do that work do it better. But you know what I finally realized, Daniel, was, man, I loved my clients. I'm not one of these all clients suck kind of freelancers, but there's a point where if possible, you want to evolve past having to work with clients, at least for all your income. And when I did that, man, it frees up this side of your brain. But then when I realized the proposition of running an agency, if you're a person who cares a lot about quality for everyone involved, is that you're just going to have a ton of clients, right?
Yeah.
Even though you're not responsible for actually producing the content that they're paying for, you're still overseeing it, and you still care a lot if something doesn't go perfectly right, Yeah. And so, man, I get why that was a little traumatic for you.
Yeah, I still got PTSD now, if I'm honest. And we're still some of it left in bad situations and things, and we're still trying to fix that because I am empathetic, and so I do want good results for people.
Yeah.
And we got very successful when we were a small team, and we tried to scale it up. We took some gambles and things. It didn't always pay off. And again, 4 Red Bulls a day, double my body weight, and calls at 4 a.m. It wasn't for me. Like, I'd much rather go surfing and stuff. We live by the beach.
Yeah.
And it was also, I can help far more people now with the Content Academy than I could just doing, 10 client campaigns. Because we had clients that would pay an absolute fortune, with private jets and things like this. But it just didn't align with what we wanted. And again, I know a lot of small business owners, and they can't afford to pay those rates and get those results.
Sure.
But they can afford to pay for like an academy to get people in, to get their staff in, to train people and things like that.
Yeah.
So just,
Yeah, great work. Well, cool, brother. I appreciate you sharing. And I know you got a lot of cool stuff over there. I feel like we've only peeked into your process a little bit. So if anybody wants to learn more about high performance content marketing, ampmycontent.com. Get over there and get the free reports that they're offering to you. Get into Daniel's world here so he can teach you how to get this done and, squeeze all the juice out of your content.
Exactly. We have one guy who's over in Norway, which is, it's not a huge audience and things like that. And he works with enterprise clients. So his clients are like $100,000 kind of thing for a campaign. He would write a post and he might get like 5 leads after a month. Mm-hmm. And with his first article, he got 21 leads in the first hour. And they are the same quality that, they were like CTO of Microsoft Norway and things like that who are reaching out to him. So it was the same traffic, just making it more effective before he'd even promoted it, just via very basic things. So it makes me really happy to be able to help people do those kind of things.
Yeah, awesome. Well, cool, but I appreciate you spending time with us. It was great getting to know you and learn from you, and I'm sure we'll do more of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and hopefully I didn't go off on too many tangents, and I hope people get value from this.
Yeah, no, it was great stuff, man. I appreciate it. Be well.
Bye.
Copy Chief Radio. Copy Chief Radio.